welcome to Intimately. I am Michelle Lea. Today, I would like to welcome a special friend and guest, Richard Demarest. And he is going to be talking about a journey that he has kind of been really excited to share. And I said, would you come on my podcast? And I know it's made some big changes in his life for him. And so he is a remodeling contractor and owns his own business, C&R Design Building, here in Naples, Florida. Also a life coach and a spiritual entrepreneur. I can't wait to hear what a spiritual entrepreneur is. And just a genuinely really amazing, nice guy. And in his words, he said, I'm a survivor, a dad, a son, a lover, and a son of God. So welcome, Richard.
Hi, thank you.
Thank you for coming on. And I'm so excited to talk about the journey that you've been on and some of the things that you've gone through, because for me, this is a big part of what I'm doing and the new journey that I'm on with understanding psychedelics and plant medicines and ceremonies and what all of this is happening in today, right? Because right now in 2026, and I'm just going to read some of these trending things that are happening. We've got just this year a federal executive order that pushed through FDA to fast track a review of psychedelic compounds with priority vouchers already issued leading psilocybin programs that are already happening, but they want to fast track those, right? We've got regulated supervised access to psilocybin and microdosing now in Oregon, Colorado, and New Mexico. Several more states have bills that are starting to move through their committees. And plant medicine has really crossed into a mainstream pop culture. And it's a conversation in a new way that we haven't had in decades. I'm even having people in their 70s and 80s that are experiencing this for the first time. And, you know, a part of what I experienced when I tried plant medicines was that I was going to write a book or a movie. I was going to make a movie. And I'm like, what? And, you know, over the last 4 years, I started channeling all of this information. And here I am writing a screenplay about this. And one of the key components is integration. So that's another kind of thing that I want to talk to you about is how you've integrated what you've done, what you've experienced into being a human, having a business and just living day-to-day operations, right? Because the public opinion is shifting, right? About roughly 1 in 4 Americans now support legal psilocybin use. So similar to where cannabis stood several years ago before its legalization, you know, pretty much nationwide now. And some reputable centers are leading really into understanding the quantum realm with psychedelics. And that's kind of where like I've been leaning into more. So let's get started on this conversation. Did any of that bring up anything for you? And you know, what's going on with you?
Of course, yeah, it's definitely a movement I've noticed and a very beneficial one. My journey with psychedelics helped me grow, learn more about myself, learn about other people, and really respect the process that everyone goes through. And I think part of that is the more I recognize myself and how I live my life and lead my life, is that you get to be more compassionate for other people.
So, what called you to your first ceremony journey? Were you not feeling compassionate to people?
No, I was closed off. I didn't realize it, but I knew there was something wrong with me and I wanted to figure out why. So lo and behold, that my first ceremony was showed me some things, how much of a party animal I was, but then also it showed me how much social anxiety I had, especially around women.
How did that show up in your life? I mean, relationships or
Yeah. There was I wanted to be social, but I didn't know how to act or be responsible with it. So I kind of kept to myself and was more private and sheltered kind of the way. So the only way I could be social was drinking, or sports and things like that. But I didn't communicate very well either. So psychedelics allowed me to just baby step into being more comfortable talking to people, sharing the same space with people, feeling accepted and then also accepting others. So that was a strange process because, we tend to judge and we tend to feel that, right? So you feel it before it even comes. So like that's the medicine just helped me understand that. And then I started to have a relationship with myself around what I thought, how I looked at people, how I felt. And
And that happened in your very first journey?
yeah, I started to understand myself, appreciate myself, how to move my thoughts around, what thoughts I could remove, how I can turn them, flip them upside down. That all came, and then I would connect with people and understand what felt good and what didn't. And then I would take that into real life and go, okay, why does this not feel good? So I think the medicine just allows you to be more aware.
I can really relate to that. The first time that I did, and that's how you and I met. We haven't done a medicine ceremony together, but we've met through friends who have. And it's the first time I did one. The very first thing we didn't even do a psychedelic yet. We just did a heart opener,
Mm,
and we were in meditation and just being quiet with our intention for the ceremony. And many people, there were these three women I just recently met. They were sitting in a little corner whispering in the room that I was in. And I went to their whispering about me. It's one of my wounds. They don't like me. I've done something wrong. They're
mm,
talking about me. And I had just read the Four Agreements before that
mm,
ceremony. And the first thing I was laying there starting to think that, and my thoughts were like almost immediately intercepted by the Four Agreements of you can't make any assumptions. And so I got up and went over and joined them. And they were just having this beautiful conversation about their intentions for the ceremony. And so I really get what you're saying there.
yeah.
And that was a big thing. Those were wounds from my past relationships of where I thought people would be talking negatively about me because I had done something wrong. So
Mm,
I really get that.
mm.
And then I'm really curious, what did you see or feel to then understand what you had witnessed in that journey? Like afterwards, or what did you see during the journey that made you start witnessing you had social anxiety, you were a party animal? Like, what did that really feel or look like during or right after the ceremony? Did you have to process it?
Yeah, the what comes to mind is I wasn't comfortable, and I didn't know why, but I just wasn't comfortable.
So were you using alcohol to make you comfortable, and
Yeah,
that
well, I was drinking at that time, and
a lot,
actually,
or just
it's not really,
did it
but
interfere with relationships at all, the alcohol?
oh, yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so it
yeah,
was causing a problem in your
yeah.
life. Okay.
Well, so I experienced a lot of mania, so I casually drank
Okay.
to depress myself, to even out. So my drinking wasn't like out of control, but it was just a neutralizer. The funny thing is that the first ceremony I ever went to, I left and went right to a party, a festival, and I had 4 beers, and the alcohol brought me right back in the ceremony again. So that was understanding of everything's connected,
Everything.
from the food we eat to the emotions that we, so the food, we attach emotions to our food. And later on, I found out that, okay, well, if that's true, then the emotion, the food passes through our organs, and whatever emotion attaches to it sits in the organ. So it's basically a pathway. And so later on down the line, I started to recognize how coffee was taking on properties of ayahuasca, how carbohydrates, all of it. And so, um, and then I eventually started to have a relationship with my body. And I started listening to my body, and my body started communicating with me very well. And so as the work progressed, somatic work and energetic work and things like that, that's where the integration takes place, because we I understood that I needed to be gentle with myself but didn't know how. And so then the more I paid attention to my emotions and what my thoughts were and how my body felt, and then I started bringing God into my life, then it started coming together. And that's what changed my everyday life.
I was just having a conversation with someone last night about understanding fascia and understanding your neuro network that runs along that fascia line is much of a grid as the Akash is a grid right outside of us, right? So as within, so without. And that grid can move in and out of us because our cells don't actually touch. Even it looks like we're solid, but they're actually not touching. And in between each cell is space. And if we understand that the electricity is moving through the fascia, which you said you started feeling, you started connecting that the emotions run in the organs. If the fascia can't move through that emotion, that's where you have a sand scar or an energy block. And this is like what the book The Body Keeps the Score talks about. Then we hold on to that emotion and it shows up as dis-ease, it shows up as triggers about something in life. And so you were able to take that stillness, that plant medicine, and you were able to start to tune into all of your cells, that whole neural network, and start to see that your body was communicating to you. It's beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you for that, because those are the explanations that help me, understand it a little bit better, and also inspire me to learn more too. So a lot of the things that plant medicine has done for me is to live the experience, and then kind of later on I find out the terminology and everything else, and it really, that's what helps me in the real world, is where, when if I do want to share some of these things, it looks like I know what I'm talking about, but also it's confidence too. So if I'm sharing things and I using the proper language, then people attract to that.
That's why I'm so excited to start this channel, right? To like
Right.
really be able to have people tune in and be like, that's what I was experiencing. It's like perfect. If one person connects with that and they start to understand that their body is a biofeedback system communicating to them. And once you get out of the thinking mind, the ego, the thinking mind cannot understand it. It's a feeling. You have to process it through that way. And that's Gnosticism. What you did was you experienced it, then you were able to learn it and integrate it into real life. That's what the ancient Gnostics would do. That's, the main reason we teach about meditation and breath work is to activate all of your cells, to increase the pranic energy, to release all of these different hormones, and then get in that state of listening and receiving feedback from the universe.
Yes, correct. Yeah, it's, like along the way, I would say a couple years into it, I was curious about energy and frequency. And now, a year and a half later, when I do have situations in everyday life, I attach the emotion to the frequency, and then I apply it to other people in my life, even in the past. And when I look at it that way, there's where the compassion comes in, because you're not looking at a person or what they did or what they said or how they treated you. You're looking at it as maybe that's all they understood. That's all they were capable of. And so when I look at that and I look at my past life, I go, okay, this is the same thing. So then I can go right back to where I used to be and go, oh yeah, I understand how I was and what I did, and that wasn't fair or that was
Is there
judgmental.
anything specific, like maybe a business deal or an employee or something like that, where you can think of to let somebody really understand what that means? Like,
Hmm.
is there an example?
Sure. I had a young man ask me to help him in my construction business. And he's a younger guy, go-getter, reminded me just like me. And so I helped him out, and he just didn't really reach out to me. He's kind of like, I'll do it on my own kind of thing. And I did some favors for him, and things went sideways a little bit. And the more I tried to explain to him, hey, it's important to communicate and just keep me in the loop and I'll help you out, the more I'm going to do it on my own type of thing.
Mm,
And some of the situations got pretty sticky to where it reminded me of a past version of myself.
okay.
And then I went in to say, okay, what can I offer him? What could I offer a previous version of myself? What would
Mm,
I say to myself
mm,
at 35 years old,
mm.
and I'm 55 now. So, and then that's what I was able to offer him. Hey, this, we may not be able to do business again. You may have a lot to learn, but it seems to me that you'll figure it out at some point. Maybe my past version, if I was in the same spot where he was, it could have been an argument. It could have been a terrible thing.
Which people think that's not such a big deal, but you don't realize how detrimental an argument is to your internal system. The cortisol, the stress, everything that it's doing to your system, causing dis-ease from that discomfort, right? So when we talk about every microsecond, one of your 70 trillion thousand cells are regenerating. You're having something in you die and being reborn right now.
Hmm.
Whatever vibration you are vibrating at is the vibration and the energy that the mitochondria is vibrating at to produce that cell. Now we're looking at, are you having cells produced in a high frequency or a low frequency? It can go that deep. So let's go back to, you did your first ceremony. How many ceremonies do you think that you've done, and how long ago? When did this start?
A little over 3 years ago, I've done 20 ayahuasca ceremonies. I've done 16 ceremonies with Bufo, and then I've dabbled in psilocybin.
Okay. Dabbled meaning like microdosing on a schedule, or have you like just done doses on the weekends, or?
A little bit of microdosing, not much, just maybe a couple weeks, 3 days each week. Then I decided to up my dose of psilocybin, and I did a really couple good deep dives. And now it's just, I just need a little bit of psilocybin to get
Mhm.
where I wanted to go. And I think that's a lot of fear comes in. For me anyways, for a while I wasn't breathing. I didn't understand how to breathe, and I was afraid of what the medicine was going to show me. So it took a while to get used to all of it. And I think that's the biggest obstacle is we're afraid of what we might see and what we might feel. And so therefore we resist it all. But once you get to the breakthrough of it all, you can take the medicine and that amount of energy, it's really just amplifying energy. So it is important when you do these ceremonies is to try and relax and be comfortable. And in the beginning it usually isn't. But
So if you've done a ceremony and now we're like a week or two out and we're feeling uncomfortable, what did you have those experience or have you had something that helped you through that? If you've post ceremony you're feeling uncomfortable or
usually there's like an emotional detox, or taxing, I guess is a better word. For a long time, it was a week after. It would take me a week to kind of get back to normal because of all the emotions you're processing and all that energy. It's when you're not used to the amount of energy that's coming through you, that's a hard thing because you feel it everywhere in your body. So for me, it was soreness. And after a little bit, I realized that something's going to come from this. So I would go through ceremony and just wait. And then, of course, it would show up. So I'd just learn to be patient. I would have my ceremony experience and I was pretty calm about it. And then I would just wait because I knew there were always rewards coming.
that's the
And
faith.
yeah, and so like really we are energetic beings. So if we allow more energy to flow through us, you don't have everything that's stuffed inside. It's just
Exactly.
that's basically
It flows in and out.
right. And you can walk through a bad situation. You can allow people to come through you, a low vibrational negative person or someone with full anxiety. Or eventually you might be able to just sit there and just witness them go through whatever they're going through. And I believe that's what I'm getting used to now is allow people can of that are experiencing a lot of different things. It doesn't really bother me.
So you've kind of detached your triggers to things that could happen in society
Mm.
so that you basically can just witness it now and not have to really be a part of it or have a judgment or a reaction to it. Is that what I'm hearing?
Right. Yeah. And when I do become a part of something, I have to give it careful thought.
Hmm.
So that's the kind of missing link that I didn't have before, where
Mm.
now it's, I'm internally processing first and I'm using the discernment. And then there's a very quick processing going on. Just how do I want to enter this? And what do I want to be responsible for?
Using your contractor skills. So
Right.
you know how to rebuild homes and now you're learning how to rebuild relationships.
Yes, correct.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. And that's
That's
what the medicine showed you.
right.
That's really
Yeah.
beautiful. So what does it look like now, with like everything that I talked about with the government and the research? I mean, there's a lot of research on Alzheimer's and dementia, and I've even seen some people who have had spinal cord injuries microdosing to reactivate some neuro tension through contraction of muscles. And I'm like, well, what's going on, right? Like, are we finally integrating Terence McKenna's, food of the gods information and we're ready to truly be creators here on earth and go, wait, my energy body works with my physical body. That's when if I think of heaven as my energy body, my soul, and I think of earth as my physical body, that's when I bring heaven on earth.
Mhm.
And so that's what I'm excited for people to experience their own wholeness. And then all relationships, we can just witness when other people is out of wholeness and not get triggered or react. That would be amazing.
Yes, I agree. That would that that is very amazing. And through the ayahuasca world and some of the relationships I've been able to connect with, is that we're experiencing the same thing. What you just described is that you can allow a person to be exactly who they are, no matter what they're struggling with, or even what they're excited about. And it's a good community to belong with, because it is very influential. Just by me sitting here, I may not even say anything at all, but the way I vibrate and what I'm offering is highly suggestive to you, even if we weren't talking. And that's nice, because most of us like to talk. And so I've had a few of those relationships where it's very quiet. And when there is a problem that someone wants to, hey, can I come over? And then we spend time together. And what they thought they needed in the beginning is nothing at all. But just by me offering something to them without what they suggested in the first place, is then I go, how'd you do that? And I says, well, I just gave you my energy, and it came from a loving place. So that's, to me, that's my fun new little toy I get to play with, and also develop and be more creative with it. And I think that's how we really influence other people to improve their lives.
Yeah. And I heard you say at the beginning too, like this has really changed your life and improved, but you had certain conditionings. I'm not in any way saying that this medicine is for everyone. There are people who have conditions that this might agitate, right? Because the biggest thing I'm wanting to help people understand is integration, right? To understand that when you see the energy path that your soul can go down, then you have to be a human and walk.
Yes. Yeah.
And we can't just stay in that. So people who have a tendency to have addictions with things, like they're using this medicine to treat addictions. But I want to make sure, like, how are people staying educated on where to go to receive this safely, how to have someone talk to them about their experience so they don't keep going back to medicine, but they go back to breath work, or I think I heard you say, or meditation or something to be able to reconnect with the medicine, not having to need it.
Right. Yeah. I believe that, there's plenty of people in the real world to help. For me, it was a holistic coach that is now my mentor. And he provided a very safe place in his home for people to come together as a group and learn more about each other, be safe when they can be vulnerable. So that's important, like if you have a best friend or father, mother, brother, sister that you can confide in, then yeah, use that as well. And for me, it was all of those things. It was getting coached. It was being brave enough to ask people for a friendship and even talking to people. And then it turned into other things. And then it turned into just, I built my own little community of support without even knowing it. And then now people are coming to me. They're curious. Why are you smiling so nicely? Why are you, wow, that's a great poem you just wrote, or why? And so then now I'm just stepping in to my spiritual entrepreneurship, which I think that's going to be unique in itself, because people are now asking me to help them, and I just want to influence them enough to be curious about themselves. And everyone's path is different. So, but there are resources out there that can help. And I think it's different for everyone, and it's not really specific.
I know there are many schools out there right now, psychedelic workshops where you can get certified to kind of start understanding this. It's legal in Canada now. There's a lot of research. So I really implore you to research, do your studies for you and what you're looking for. This information is out there. I definitely want to say, be honest, be authentic about wanting to do this. And I love what you said about family, because I was honest with my family. They may not have agreed with everything that I have done in my life, but I am honest about it, right? I'm going to do it with pride. I'm going to do it with integrity. And I want to be honest about it. So I just implore you, whatever it is, be honest, be open, talk to your loved ones, your community, find support, let them know what you're going through. I'm so excited that you shared all this information. And is there anything that we didn't hit on that you think would be really important for someone that doesn't understand about plant medicines or are curious? Is there anything left that you would like to say?
Well, thank you for inviting me, and it's been absolutely wonderful. Yeah, I would just say that, you know, if anybody is needing help, just be brave enough to ask, and also be curious to do the research, and instead of looking at it as something this isn't accepted in society, or you're doing, drugs or whatever, and it's, finding the right group of people is everything. So my advice would be just to research it, Google it, check it all out, interview with several places that are offering it, and then whatever feels best to you, jump in that direction.
Amazing. I couldn't agree more. I would love to just add on to that, that the way that I, feel that I started channeling started as poetry, and then it started kind of as lyrics, and then like this poetry and lyrics all started formulating the story. And it was all because I created a practice of how to communicate to my energy body and my physical body, and then take time to like really let that sit in. And it was just an amazing journey. And so I hope you'll continue the journey with us. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. Make sure that you like, subscribe. If you know anyone who thinks that this would be great information and they've been talking about it, please share with them also. And I look forward to seeing you all again. Thanks so much for being on the show with me today.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.